Tonight, our special transmission as Israel fails to provide proof for its allegations against the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian refugees. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Aisha Ashraf. Today is the 199th day since Israel started attacking Palestinians indiscriminately. The Palestinian Media Office reports in the past 24 hours, Israeli forces have carried out 3 massacres. At least 32 Palestinians have been killed. 59 have been injured. Many are trapped under the rubble. Israeli ships and warplanes continue to bomb Gaza during the night. There are reports of overnight bombing at the Nusayrat refugee camp and Khan Yunis. Palestinian civil defense teams have found another 35 bodies and a mass grave at Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis. As of today, this brings the total number of bodies discovered to 310. Families are still searching for the remains of their loved ones. The International Committee of the Red Cross has provided paramedics with 150 body bags and protective clothing to help excavate the site. The United Nations Chief of Human Rights, Volker Turk, condemns the destruction of medical facilities and reports of mass graves. The Israeli military has killed a Palestinian man in Jericho, West Bank. In Lebanon, Israeli airstrikes have killed 2 Hezbollah members, including a high-ranking member of an air defense unit. The death toll from Israel's war continues to mount. At the time of writing, at least 34,183 Palestinians have been killed. A report by the United Nations estimates another 8,000 are buried under the rubble. 77,143 have been wounded. The death toll in Israel from Hamas's attacks stands at 1,139. A United Nations report shows a single child is killed in Gaza every 10 minutes. Media advisor for the United Nations Relief Agency, Adnan Abu Hasna, says 67 women, including 37 mothers, die in Gaza every day due to Israeli aggression. Abu Hasna says there may be more challenging conditions in the coming days as Israel threatens a military action in Rafah. The population of Rafah has increased to 2.2 million from 150,000 since the onset of Israel's war. Abu Hasna says there are huge obstacles in aiding the population due to restrictions on movement imposed by Israel. He says despite efforts, only a fraction of the needed aid is reaching those in need, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. An independent investigation led by former French foreign minister has found no evidence against the staff of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees. Israel had claimed that its staff had links to Hamas and were involved in the attack on Israeli citizens on October 7th last year. Catherine Colonna says Israel's allegations are unfounded and lack credible evidence. The Israeli allegations led to significant funding cuts from donor countries. Most of these countries have started funding again after the publication of the report. However, Austria, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, the United Kingdom, and the United States are still to resume funding. In the original 6-page dossier obtained by Al Jazeera Media, Israeli intelligence makes several allegations against the agency. It alleges the organization's facilities were used by Hamas in its attack in October. The Israeli military also alleges 12 of the agency's staff members were directly involved in the attack. It says another 190 members provided intelligence and logistical support to Hamas. However, the report notes that Israel did not provide proof for any of its allegations. It shows Israel only raised concerns about the vetting process for the agency in January this year. Israel's allegations against the agency surfaced when the United Nations warned of a looming famine in Gaza. The Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, a tool used to measure food security, says around 210,000 people in Gaza are already affected by famine. Academic scholars are calling for a boycott of US's Columbia University following the harsh treatment of pro-Palestine students. The news comes after the university decided to involve police and suspend pro-Palestinian students during a recent protest. American author and activist Mark Lamont Hill is supporting the boycott. Jewish Voice for Peace is criticizing the university's actions. It says the stance poses risks to both Palestinians and Jewish students. The call has sparked demonstrations across at least 10 major universities in the U.S. In the past 24 hours, student encampments have surged in multiple campuses. The protesters demand divestment from companies involved in Israel's actions. There are ongoing demonstrations in universities like Massachusetts Institute of Technology, New York University, and Yale. Tufts University, along with other institutions, pledge ongoing protests until divestment occurs. Austrian academic Farid Hafez is seeking $10 million in damages for being targeted by a smear campaign. The campaign originated from a research center at George Washington University in the United States. The campaign was spearheaded by a prominent US-based terrorism analyst, Lorenzo Vedino, in the center. Hafez, a respected academic, was accused of having extremist connections to Muslim Brotherhood. The accusation led to police raids at his residence and false terrorism charges in 2020. He was exonerated by Austrian courts. Although Austrian courts ruled the raids unlawful, Hafez's reputation and career suffered immensely. The campaign also targeted another 1,000 individuals in 18 European countries. Vedino is believed to have financial ties to a Swiss firm funded by the United Arab Emirates. The campaign targeted academics and scholars who participated in politically sensitive topics, including anti-Arab racism and Palestinian rights. The operation was being financed with millions of dollars by the UAE government. The campaign was meant to destroy perceived ideological enemies of the Arab state in the Western countries. Vedino utilized fake journalists and social media to tarnish reputations. Details of the campaign became public when hackers leaked internal communications from the UAE-backed firm. The firm is known as Erupts Services. The hackers sent the files from the firm to another defendant in Hafez's suit named Hassan Nada. Nada has alleged in a separate lawsuit that his personal reputation has been tarnished by unfounded accusations of terrorist financing. Global military spending has surged to an unprecedented $2.4 trillion in the previous year. This marks the 9th consecutive annual increase. The increase equates to 2.3% of the global GDP. A report by the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute attributes this increase to ongoing conflicts and fears of war. The US remains the largest spender, followed by China, Russia, and India. The war in Ukraine has spurred significant boosts in military budgets across Europe. Countries like Poland and Finland have made substantial increases for military spending. The European Union officially recognized Russia as an existential threat, substantially increasing defense budgets. Last year, Russia increased military spending to 6.9% of its GDP and 16% of all government spending. In the same period, Russia's economy grew by almost 22% due to high energy export revenues. Israel has also increased its defense budget by 24% from last year. It now stands at $27.5 billion, or 5.3% of its GDP. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is facing accusations of hate speech after referring to Muslims as infiltrators. During a political rally, he suggested Muslims would usurp the wealth of Hindu citizens. Opposition parties condemn Modi's remarks. They say Modi has deliberately targeted India's 200 million Muslim minority. They have filed complaints against Modi, claiming his comments incite religious tensions and breach electoral laws. In his speech, Modi said the previous government preferred Muslims have the first right over the nation's wealth. India's previous government was led by the main opposition Congress Party. He said if the Congress won the current election, people's wealth will be distributed among those who have more children. It will be distributed to the infiltrators. Till now, Modi has not made any explicit mentions of Muslims. Analysts are concerned at the Prime Minister resorting to political polarizing during elections. Thank you for watching. Our news is produced by Muslim Network TV, which is a not for profit organization. We need your support for donations. Please scan the QR code on our broadcast or visit MuslimNetwork.tv to donate now so we can continue to amplify the voices of Muslims in Canada and abroad.